Hello, everyone. This is Tanika, and this is Truth Be Told, where we bring truth to light. And so this excerpt is called Bold and Beautiful. Love is easy when it's new, but bold when it's tested. Love is soft in the beginnings. Two hearts believing this could be something sacred. And today we're going to talk about perfect marriage. We're not talking about perfect marriages. We're talking about bold ones, the kind that finds a way to unite when life gets difficult, the kind that close ranks close ranks when tension tries to divide, the kind that make courageous decisions even when comfort would be easier. Bold love is anchored, it protects, it refines under fire, and when boldness meets covenant, what emerges is something beautiful. Welcome to Truth Be Told, episode 3, Bold and Beautiful. And today we have Peppy and Sylvia Jackson, and we're going to let them talk about themselves and what they do. Introduce yourselves. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm going to let my wife introduce herself first. She's always first in my life. So
Oh
here we
boy.
are.
Okay, the cameras must be really rolling. Okay, so I'm Sylvia Jackson. I'm with the Riverside County Black Chamber of Commerce. I'm also the health director of the Cover California portion of our business. I am the one that recruits for the certified enrollment counselors, and I'm also an enroller. So I enroll clients, and I'm Peppy Jackson's wife. Yeah.
And we want to say right off the top, thank you so much for inviting us on to your podcast. We
Yeah.
really appreciate the work that you're doing in the community. And we want to just say that we support you 100%. We've known you for many years now, and we are just thrilled with the progress that you're making in your own career. Sylvia and I have been married for over almost
It will be 25 years this
25
July.
years.
Yeah.
That's like a quarter of a century,
Century.
right? A quarter of a century. So we've learned a lot of things along the way, and we've done a lot of things together to be able to keep our marriage together.
Yeah.
My name is Peppy Jackson. I'm the president of the Riverside County Black Chamber of Commerce. We have a passion for trying to help our community become more economically empowered. To this month is February, and of course, you have Valentine's Day, which is to promote your relationship and your love. But we also promote Black History Month too in February. And when you think about is there a connection between Black history and love? I think so. Right? Black history, when we celebrate Black History Month, we're celebrating the love that our ancestors had, the sacrifices that they made. I think at the foundation of a good marriage, of a movement that tries to help the community, is that sense of love.
That's beautiful. I really do see that there is a connection, and we yield to that love that is expressed transgenerationally and culturally and community wise, and love is not just one notion. There's so many different forms of love, but we do appreciate what our ancestors left for us to stretch and to move forward into, right? And so I do appreciate you saying that, because that was bold. It was bold for them to say, hey, I want to produce something better for generations to come, that my kids can live a happy, good life of marriage and children, and live successfully, right? And that's kind of what you do. You want to make not just room for you, but room for people to be able to evolve and to live boldly, and to be able to experience life in its fullness, and not be bound by any limitations. And so I thank you for what you strive to do, for whether it's for health or for history or for just each other, because it all radiates through community. Just to be able to be a benefactor of your love myself, just to see you guys grow together in love, it's just a beautiful synergy and harmony and
Oh, thank
witness, right?
you.
And so thank you
None
for
but
saying
God.
that. It was so
Nothing
much
but
richness in what you just said, so got me stirred on that. But it's a beautiful thing to bridge culture and love. It is something that does unite us too, as
That's
people.
true. So true.
So how did you meet?
There we go. How do we meet, Peppy? You want me to tell it?
Yeah.
Who
Oh, okay.
pursued who?
Well, it's funny because the way that we met, we were already married to two other people, quite naturally. So when we met, we weren't meeting so that we can get together. I was trying to sell what we call at Montgomery Ward's photo session fees, and in the Lakewood Mall in 1997 in September, I saw anybody walking near me or around my kiosk, they were to me a target. So I needed to make sure I don't let anybody get by without getting what we had was a coupon that can seat up to 15 people in one picture. You get 15 different poses, and all that came up in my speech to him. I was trying to get his attention. He wasn't interested because he was very much a focused man that had a purpose for being in the mall. So as I said before, I asked the question because he was in such a hurry. I'm like, when was the last time you took a picture? Do you have a wife? He goes, yes. I said, do you have a child? He goes, yes. I go, when was the last time you took a family picture? And then he looked up and go, and I went, oh, you know what? You're going to get one of these. And this doesn't expire. And it was only a $10 fee for the coupon. So he did give me that chance to sell him on it, right? And when he did that, he was, I guess, impressed about my salesmanship. So he gave me a card and said, if you ever want a real career and you want to make a good money, I am at this dealership. And I read it, and it was like Advantage Ford Lincoln Mercury, Peppy Jackson, sales manager. So I went excited because I always wanted to. But first I had to get over the name. I was like, but what's your real name? So I'll let him tell the rest because the rest is really history.
Okay, and thank you for sharing that, details, right? So let me share with you this, right? That it's really in retrospect. It's only as we look back now over the years, because certainly it was not our idea initially when fate brought us together.
Right.
When fate brought us together, it was because she was working in Montgomery Mall and Lakewood Mall,
in Montgomery Ward,
right? And I was passing through to do some shopping.
I did that part.
But the thing is that when you look back on it now, it wasn't as if we had planned to meet. It was just that fate had brought us. It wasn't
about us at all. It turned out to be a real big picture.
Yeah. And with that, things had, there were so many similarities, right? Sometimes you can see God's hand on what was about to unfold, but you don't see it until many years later, right? Mm-hmm. We lived in the same neighborhood, but
we lived on the same street.
We lived in the same street,
but we didn't know each other.
Our kids were born at the same hospital, right? Around the same time, right? So as
and we're both Christians, and we both was married to non-Christians.
Okay. And also, right,
that had to be fixed.
The thing came about as we started to work together and develop other interests that we saw that we had in common. Then other things took place. So it was a natural progression. I think when you meet a person, what you want to do is to allow it to naturally develop. It's not a forced thing. It's not like, okay, I'm going to go get me a wife right now.
Oh,
I'm going to get me a new wife, right?
No.
The thing is that God puts people in your pathway, mm-hmm. and He says, this person may be better for you. And sometimes, we don't listen. And sometimes we get stuck in relationships.
But we became very bold. We said, if we're going to do this, we're not going to sin.
Right. That aren't really healthy. So they stick in and spend a lot of years in relationships that aren't healthy. But we happen to listen to
we were rescued by the Holy Spirit.
That's right. That's right.
So you guys met in the mall, and you were one who arranges pictures. I know your position because I remember the person who would stop me in the mall and say, "Hey, would you sign up to take your family pictures?" And you were that person.
I
But
was
he
that person.
was a different type of sales representative, and he said, "Okay, she sold me. I'm going to use that
Mhm.
gift and bring her in to work for me." Kind of
Sure,
is what
absolutely,
happened.
Yes,
absolutely.
introduced me to the most money I've ever earned.
Wow. So he
Yeah, it was
literally just really shifted your life, right? You guys
all
were
about the business, never about anything, but he was a serious leader, even in that realm, and he taught us everything, the whole team. We were the number one team for 8 consecutive months. I was the rookie of the month. I mean, he was all about being successful at what we're trying to do, and also letting the people feel that we care about their purchase as opposed to just making a sale. And that's what made the difference. When I saw this guy, he could do it. I knew I could be nice because I've been doing it with those coupons for
Yeah.
5 years. Yeah.
right.
So it worked out really well. The whole thing unfolded in front of us. We were both shocked. Yeah.
So at this time, you guys are just still co-workers, right? He's your
That's
boss,
right.
or something like that. He's teaching you and training you, right?
My
Two separate
manager.
marriages,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you were, like you say you guys were um really desiring to be good about this. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, it wasn't about sin or anything like that. It was about, positioning yourself for success, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I
working
positioned ourselves to let God do His will
His
because
will. Yeah.
it was very unexpected,
It was very
and
unexpected.
so it's important that Pepe also know that I'm sharing these little details because it's about being bold and beautiful in this relationship. So it took a real strong person on both of our sides to be able to
Yeah.
go to the other person that we were with and to end that so that we can allow God to really take us to the next level. And He did all of that. And so, yeah.
Were you guys, so you guys, when did you know that it was serious? When did everything begin to turn for a different,
About a
take
year.
a different turn?
We were always, working side by side. When did you notice that it was serious?
Well, as most times, right, we had a chance to tell each other about as you gain trust,
Right,
Mhm.
you start to open up about your personal life.
right.
And we saw that there was a similarity in unhappiness, and we
Yes.
saw that there was a need to, because again, you kind of you struggle with the fact that you want to make something work, and then when you see that it's not working, then that's where the boldness has to come in, where you have enough uh, um, faith that if the signs show that one thing is not working, and that God is showing you that this one has more um, more things that you have in common with one another,
Mhm.
I think that's the moment. That's the moment that we really saw that we had more things in common with one another. And you want the person that you're with to make you feel confident. You want the person that you with makes you feel loved. And sometimes that's the difference. And I think that that's where it was a turning point for us.
And not to mention, we really, in my case, I was really insistent on making sure that we do it the way that God wrote it. So the family order, the love order, how He loves the church, and then the husband has to cover the wife, and then we cover the children. But it was the order of the Bible and knowing the word, from being brought up in the way that I was with my mom. She was a Bible thumper, but basically she just really put it on me hard that if you're going to be married with someone who's evenly yoked with you in your spiritual realm, And when he started to show me that his interest in the church and he loved to praise the Lord, I was just adding these little informational pieces together, but
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was going to really come up to the hard thing that we did. But
So we got out of 2 bad marriages and got into our marriage that has been successful for the last 25 years.
Yes.
There you go.
There we
Boom.
go.
See you later.
But
Okay.
I do understand the tension, and I do understand the reality, and I still understand the beauty of what you're saying. You guys were in some difficult relationships, and God was showing you as you were engaging with each other that this was something that was special and that He honored. And the relationship that you were in, He didn't. It wasn't working, and that He wants to do something different. Right.
Yeah. Amen.
And so I'm gonna be a little bit of transparent because I want to take the frustration or the any pressure or shame off the moment. Because when I was in a marriage, and the Lord literally kept showing me that the man I married was not my husband. I went to my pastor over and over again, and I said, I don't know why I'm having this dream, why I keep hearing this. And I had to expose it because it was a problematic to me. Because for me as a Christian, I believe you married for the rest of your life. So no matter how miserable I am, no matter what's going on, no matter how imperfect it is, I have to stay there. And I did. I stayed there forever, and then it still ended up in divorce. Right? It still ended up divorce. 17 years of marriage ended up divorced.
Wow. I'm so sorry that
So,
happened.
yeah, so I think it was important that you said that, because I don't believe that God is a God of who wants us to be divorced. That's not His desire. But I also believe that He already knows His plan for us. He already knows who He has for us. And when we don't stick to His plan, we're out of alignment with what He really wants for us, right? And the people are waiting because we're in the wrong place, right? We're not, and so I didn't leave my marriage. My husband left me, but I wanted to share that with you because
thank you.
There are many people who might find this moment of tension in their own personal marriages. And it's not just to leave your husband. You can work through it. If you love them, right? Totally, right? I will not suggest that anybody get divorced, because if that's the person you're supposed to be with, a lot of people get remarried after divorcing the person that they thought was not for them, So I think that it's important that we clarify that too, that this is not
absolutely.
The Lord says to dove to his part, but He also did say for us to be equally yoked. And when we don't do it the way He planned, there are problems, right? And sometimes He has to reroute us for purpose.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing that, because we don't know who else have that testimony. I didn't know you had my testimony. That was my testimony. But I stayed in it though, and it just kept getting darker.
Well, I'm just glad it didn't ruin you completely and didn't take your joy away from you, so you're not able to be used in the community sense, because it's important not to be damaged and then never come out of that.
Right.
So thank God for
that. And this is in line with the title of your podcast, Truth Be Told.
The truth comes out. That's the whole reason. Oh, love, right? That's the whole reason for the truth to be told, because we sweep so many things under the rug. And that was my last opening. We sweep things under the rug, and then people never know, how do I deal with this? Because no one's honest about the truth, right? So the Bible is full of experiences that is not pretty. Right.
Okay.
That's right.
Of things that happen, from rape to murder to incest,
all kinds of things,
other things, and so the Bible, and He shows us how His love corrects it. He doesn't want to shame us, but He wants to bring us into alignment with His grace, right?
That part.
And so, that was a very bold move early on. So I don't have to ask that question, but that was a very bold move, and it set the tone for where your relationship is now.
A lot of courage. Yeah.
It took a lot of courage. How were you tested after renewing your covenant with each other? How beginning this covenant with each other? Were there any ways that you were tested?
Mm. Well,
Anything that
we failed to mention that we had children. Well, I had two, and he had one. And as God would have it, his daughter Destiny is 32 years old. She's going on 33 for next month. My son with my first husband is 32. He will be 33 in April. And so when we had the test part was, how do we leave our children, or do we take the kids from the former, husband or wife? How do we combine this? How do the children feel like this is okay, and not to feel insecure? And of course they were hurt to see what they understood to be their mother and father living in the same house, in the same bedroom, and all that. Now it's going to be different. That was a huge test, would you say?
Yeah, I would say that. And again, it's in retrospect that we can take a look at how things turned out. The kids are fine right now,
so
right?
Close.
They're doing well, right? They grew up together.
Yes.
They had a great relationship. There are going to be challenges anytime you have a combined family, under the best of circumstances. And I think that even with that, you have financial challenges along the way. So the things that we seem to be crisis, or things that may have been challenges, are just journey steps. They're just steps that we have to make along the journey. That it's not something saying, woe is me, why did this happen to me? We go through this in life.
And communication with those children, because they weren't little tiny babies.
Right.
The way that we combined was through having family meetings. We would do one-on-one, and we had Pepe would go with his daughter, and just he and her would go somewhere. I take my two kids sometimes, and then we always do things together so that they can feel the love. It was really done in love, that we would pay attention to how well they were receiving this new relationship, and that they would never feel like that their biological dad was not their dad, because he was very much their dad from the beginning and still is. But their stepdad is giving them a bonus, and they will tell you he's the greatest thing that's ever happened to him. So, and Pepe's personality, as you well know, Tanika, pretty much. But you can imagine what he would give to two and three innocent children that we just, together we love them so much. That test, it took a while to get them to trust us. Like if I said something was good for her to take for her cough, my stepdaughter, then she would, let me call my mother and see, you see? And then I would feel in, like, what's wrong with her? What, but then it made sense. And as we let this thing, grow with them, then it all became about trust, like Pepe said earlier. And it was a beautiful thing. And we are so close. I love them kids. They grown folks now.
Yeah.
That's I understand like how children really have such a profound experience or effect on everything all the time, whether it's blended or not, right? So I'm glad that you brought in the children, because we do want to understand, like, how is this going to affect my family system? How is it going to affect my children's upbringing? How they're going to thrive as a result of this? Is it going to cause them to be in depression, or, what I'm saying? I want them to have be healthy. And so it's important that we bring this up, because how can other people who've gone through divorce or separation and merging families, how do you go through the challenge of merging the family and bringing the kids in and helping them to be okay with the changes and the challenges of coming into a new situation where they have to honor both mother and father when they might have another mother or father on the outside. So it's important that you guys were able to navigate that and that could have had a tremendous effect on your family. So I'm happy that you guys went in just thinking about how that would affect your children, you know?
Mm-hmm. Very important to make sure that that was like one of the first priorities. But going back to the order of the family, though, the children don't come before your spouse. So then once I learned that, and we both learned this in classes that we took at church, it was easier for us to refer the kids also to the Bible, you know, because they're used to one way at the old house, and now this man is going to be in charge of the whole house. And they're used to me being, you know, real, because I'm kind of bullheaded and everything like that. They just thought, well, Mom, you used to tell us what to do. And I said, well, not anymore.
That must have been difficult. I
Oh,
could
it
imagine.
was. It made them, some people, some with the two of them, you know, only difficult for the oldest one, because we forgot to mention the oldest one was 6 years older than both he and his daughter and our son. But she, you know, she was going through that teenager mode, you know. Well, he ain't my dad, and blah blah blah. So we let her go on and do a thing with her dad, you know. And then as soon as she graduated from college, she, can I come and live with you guys? I said,
They
so yeah.
understand what love is. You know, it's difficult to have that exchange and the changes and the challenges and having someone new come in and bark orders or tell you what to do. And, you know, it's new, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I understand that, but they understand love too. When
Yeah.
someone really loves them, you know,
And he
so they
was
have
really,
to learn.
he didn't bark at them. You know, he was like,
Yeah,
he's, you know, a real mentor type of man. So he's a
yeah,
counselor at heart. So right
yeah,
away, he allowed them to be free with what they really felt.
yeah.
I,
Oh, that's
I think that
amazing.
one of the things that helped guide me, and of course, you know, um, rooted into my faith, was a strong sense of education, a strong sense of
Yes.
where
Okay.
you're going to go with your life, right? To ask those
Right.
type of questions, to bring out what they were thinking about, not so much what I was thinking about. Even though I try to steer them in a certain direction, I knew it was on them, that they would go the path that they wanted to go. But education was a key thing. We wanted to make sure that they got the proper education and that they saw us living a life that reflected that we wanted to live a decent life and
Mm-hmm.
provide security and formality, a normalcy to their life. Right? When they come home to do their homework, it was not chaotic, there was no confusion. We supported one another to be able to let them know that we were there to help them. Um, and then you just let God do his thing, because
Yeah.
they also have to participate, and you know they have to want to learn and want to grow and want to do things. And
Right.
we've been, for the most part, very fortunate that we don't have any kids that got into trouble. I mean, maybe they experiment a little bit,
Yeah, it got a little frisky.
right, just a little bit, right. But all of them stayed for the most part on the straight and narrow. So you got to be thankful about that.
And they got to know the Lord for themselves.
For
Yes.
themselves. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really important, because we were making them go to church, and then, you know, all of a sudden, one by one, they start taking in their own Bible, reading and marking it, putting the bookmarks in it, and going back, and then we have Bible study. You know, so
Yeah,
it's a
did you
good.
guys have Bible study together?
We had Bible study a few
Oh yeah.
times from our church. We had the church members come in, and
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
our kids on a
Yeah.
certain day. So yeah,
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah.
I I'm curious. We have a few minutes left before this segment ends about the other parents. How did the other parents weigh in too?
Oh, well, I guess, you know, I would imagine, because we both left the other, you know, spouse. So there was some resentment. I mean, you know, how dare you, you know, kind of things. Surprised, very shocked, because when we said we weren't evenly yoked with them, there wasn't any signs of abuse. So there
Mhm.
wasn't any something visible and that people could say, "Oh, I'm glad they broke up," because boy, it was none of that. It was kind of like, what, you know, and so after they got over the shock of it all, I would say from my ex that he just accepted Pepe. In fact, he met Pepe before